Think about the last time someone's words ruined your day. Whether that be a politician, some video you saw, a dismissive coworker, a judgmental friend, or a professor. We've all been there. We've all witnessed and faced some sort of hate at some point along our journeys. Right now, my perception of the Western world is that there's just so much hate going around everywhere. And this is something that's exacerbated by social media, because emotionally charged posts and videos are the ones that end up garnering more views and attention from humans, because when we feel emotions, we feel inclined to be a part of it to an extent. And I just feel so... Every time I open social media and I see hateful comments or hateful posts, or I hear some of my friends or like acquaintances ill wishing on someone, or just like talking down or bad, or I don't know, dude, I just find myself deeply hurt when I see and sense genuine hate. It's one thing to joke about things, it's one thing to say that you don't like a class or you hate this class, etc., etc., but it's another thing to really feel, like, be able to feel and sense that there's some sort of like hate or actually like charged emotions behind this feeling. As an empath, I feel like I pick up on those things a little bit more than I had in the past, and I just feel deeply hurt when I'm reading or hearing people like ill wishing on others, like wishing death even. Like, this is something that I see it on social media, and I've heard people say this out loud, and it just pains me, dude. I am so grateful that I started my spiritual journey over the past few years, that I know I've internalized the learnings, or some of the learnings that we'll head into today. And I just have no place for hate in my body, and I don't want to be holding that kind of emotion, which is so low level, low vibration, that it holds you into survival mode and doesn't allow you to create something in your life. As much as I feel hurt by witnessing the hate, I just let it pass through me, or I try to just let it pass through me. And today, in this video, I want to go over how ancient wisdom from different cultures and science really guide the way for us to truly deal with hate in our lives. You can't control the external world. You can't control every single thing that's going to happen around you or happens to you, but you do have control over your internal realm, your internal world. And raising the collective consciousness, in my opinion, has to come from a place of love. We can't induce change through hate and despise. We have to embody love and compassion and lead with those high vibration emotions. This video is honestly my first raw message to lead with the love and compassion that I want to continue to embody in my life and share with others through learnings that I've acquired in different phases of my life and through different cultures and books. In June 2024, I was introduced to this book, The 40 Rules of Love by Alif Shafak, which is a fictional story inspired by historical events and the relationship of two individuals, Shams and Rumi, both of Persian descent. I don't know why I mentioned that, was not so relevant, but Rumi, after his spiritual development with Shams, they just shared this bond of spiritual development and deep devotion and love for each other. Not in a romantic way, just learning from each other, growing from each other, mentor-mentee kind of relationship. And it was after Rumi and Shams had this development together that Rumi ended up becoming a poet that started spreading the teachings of God, but from a lens of love and compassion. This falls under Sufism, which is a mystical realm of Islam, which seeks divine love and God in everything that is present around us. Also knowledge through inner and outer exploration. The Bhagavad Gita, which is a Hindu spiritual text, so this is stemming from Indian descent, and this is just one of the translated versions. But the essence of the book is a conversation between the Supreme God, Krishna, and one of his disciples, Arjun, who is faced with this internal dilemma of fulfilling his duties but having to go against the people that he loves and admires and respects in his life. And he's having this internal conflict of whether he should fulfill his role or whether he should choose those emotions or people in this material world. Of course, there's so much lore for me to cover here for like both of these books and the history of Sufism and the teachings of Gita, but I kind of just want to dive right the fuck in. So if you're interested in learning more about these things, definitely go ahead, Google, look these things up and come back to the video. But you'll also get more of an idea of more of these books as I continue to make videos like these. But I want to head into one of the rules from the 40 rules of love that really got me thinking about the idea of dealing with hate through spiritual learnings and teachings. I've read this book countless times in the past year, bro. I finished this book in less than like 2 or 3 days when I first got it, and since then I've just reread it, read different parts. Even though I can't name the rules or like anything like that off the top of my head, every time I read, I just look at it from a new perspective. And I read this rule just a few days ago, and that's what got me in this chain of thought. This is rule number 30 in the book. The true Sufi is such that even when he is unjustly accused, attacked, and condemned from all sides, he patiently endures, uttering not a single bad word about any of his critics. A Sufi never apportions blame. How can there be opponents or rivals or even others when there is no self in the first place? How can there be anyone to blame when there is only one? This, dude, honestly, like, it's so powerful and just makes me want to smile and express gratitude. And let's break this down a bit. The first sentence says, the true Sufi is such that even when he is unjustly accused, attacked, and condemned from all sides, he patiently endures, uttering not a single bad word about any of his critics. Which is really hitting on the idea of steadfastness and remaining grounded in and rooted in your natural essence, rather than reacting and giving into the impulses or the impulsive emotions that arise when you listen to hate or critique from other people. What follows: a Sufi never apportions blame, which is just simply saying no blame is put on others or yourself. How can there be opponents or rivals or even others when there is no self in the first place? And this is something that, the way I see it, it's asking us to let go of ego, let go of the identities that we like cling on to survive and go about in the material world. And then the next question: how can there be one to blame how can there be anyone to blame when there is only one? Which alludes to the idea that we all stem from the same source, and there's this divine that's present within all of us, and it connects us in a way that we just can't fully see or comprehend just yet. It's just so powerful for me, and this idea or this teaching is something that's also mirrored in the Gita, and probably like other cultures and other books as well. Like, I'm so close to show it, and I'm excited to keep heading down this path and reading more. But in the Gita, Krishna reminds us that every being, every atom comes from one divine source, one divine energy. Now that I'm saying this out loud, this is also an idea that's mentioned in this book called The Physics of Consciousness, and it alludes to some of the similar ideas of how there's one divine absolute where everything stemmed from. And in the Gita, this idea begins in verses 6 to 7 of chapter 7, and then chapter 9 and 10 really dive deeper into this idea of how Krishna is just a label in this book, right? Is the supreme God, or a manifestation of the supreme God, so that humans can understand some parts of the divine source. I'll read some of the verses. Verse 32 of chapter 10. I am the beginning, middle, and end of creation. Of all the sciences, I am the science of self-knowledge, and I am logic in those who debate. 41. Wherever you find strength or beauty or spiritual power, you may be sure that these have sprung from a spark of my essence. 42. Just remember that I am, and I support the entire cosmos with only a fragment of my being. 39. I am the seed that can be found in every creature, Arjun. For without me, nothing can exist, neither animate or inanimate. I would love to break down each one, but that would probably take me hours, and those were just some examples from the book to give you an idea of how this teaching is mirrored in different sources, in different places, literally across the world, in different cultures. Like, that's so fascinating to me. All in all, if we internalize this, the person who insults you, the person who insults someone else, or the person doing the bad things or the hateful things, in a cosmic sense is connected to me. In a cosmic sense is connected to you. We're all some same life energy, just different expressions. I'll read one of the verses again, because I feel like that was well put just now. Damn. (39) of chapter 10. I am the seed that can be found in every creature. For without me, nothing can exist, neither animate nor inanimate. I think this alludes to how there's this divine energy flowing within us, like through all of us. And if you're not able to recognize it within yourself, you can't recognize it within others. And if you can't recognize it within others, you can't recognize it within yourself. It's just one of those cycles where one feeds into the other. But overall, same life energy, just different expression. By recognizing that we're all part of this same divine source, we can begin to replace vengeance with empathy and understanding, blame with perspective and nuance. Instead of lashing out, we can ask, what's causing their frustration? Could this just be some of their own hurt manifesting as hate? And this doesn't excuse anyone's bad behavior, but it can help you respond with stability and an even-minded level with less retaliation. And in that way, you start to begin your own spiritual journey of leading and inspiring change from a place of love. Very interestingly, these entire set of teachings also have a direct alignment with scientific theories, specifically the theory of how the universe began, the Big Bang. The Big Bang theory tells us everything began from a single point of infinite temperature and density that collapsed on itself, and then boom, from nothing, everything stemmed. And since then, the universe has been ever expanding. This really hones in on the idea that we all stem from the same source. Whether we look at it from a perspective of science, whether we look at it from a perspective of spirituality, the molecules that we're made of were manufactured in stars at some point in their history. And that's why you've probably heard that we're made of stardust. We really are. Like, we really are. We've come up with crazy labels in this material world to cling on to certain identities and making it our life, making it something that's a part of us in a way that we have to defend it. We have to defend ourselves if someone tries to question that identity or that label. When the truth is that the separation that the labels and identities create it's more of an illusion and something that we create for ourselves rather than something that's our natural essence or something that's already inherently a part of us. We're all part of the same universe, all stemming from the same source, truly, at some point in history. So how do we actually put these learnings into practice? Number one, pause and reflect. When you see or hear something hateful, before you fire back or react, just count to 10. Let that first surge of emotions and anger or pain just spread throughout your body. If you feel like it's stuck in a specific body part or space, close your eyes and just visualize that knot of energy just loosening up and starting to spread throughout your body instead of just it being in that one place. Awareness is step number one. Number two, remind yourself of the oneness. Remind yourself that we come from the same source. It's not going to make anyone's words or behavior okay, but it is going to reframe your perspective. You can't change anyone else, and you're not here to do that. But you can change your perception of how you view things and life. You're here to be authentically you while driving and inspiring change from a place of love, abundance, and kindness. The more you criticize others, the more you'll criticize yourself. The more you judge others, the more you judge yourself. And the vice versa is also true. Same logic applies to hate. And that is exactly why we're practicing these learnings, to lead from a place of love and compassion for ourselves and for others. Number three, choose responding over reacting. Either let go of the hateful comments or discussions, or remove yourself from the situations if you have the chance or if you need to. You either address the comments calmly or you decide to ignore them entirely. Either choice can be powerful as long as it's coming from a place of intention and a place of love and compassion for yourself and for the other person. And lastly, which ties into this idea of practicing the self-compassion, don't surrender your inner space to negativity. Your external world need not dictate how you feel inside. I know it feels natural to base your internal feelings on what's going on around in your external reality, but like I said earlier in the video, you don't have control over what goes on outside, but you do have control over your inner realm, your inner exploration. And the more you're compassionate with yourself, the more you'll be compassionate towards others, and vice versa. Life is way too precious to be battling or spend time trying to prove something to someone. Whether we look at the Sufi wisdom, Gita's teachings, or this Big Bang's cosmic idea of unity and stemming from the same source, the message really is all the same. We're not just humans, bro, animals, life on earth. We're all intimately connected with something that's so much greater than ourselves. We're connected in a way that we can't even describe it with words or science just yet. Something so much greater than anything we can imagine, see, or comprehend just now. So I challenge you, next time you confront some sort of hate or hostility, online or in real life, pause and remember this shared source. Pause and remember this oneness. Allow yourself to feel the emotions that arise within your body, but then let them pass through you. Resist the natural urge to blame, defend, or attack. And then notice how that shifts your mood, your reactions, and even your relationships when you continue to practice this over time. If you have a story like this or would want to share something that you thought about while watching this video, then let me know in the comments below. But I truly, genuinely appreciate you tuning into the video, making it this far, and sticking with me. If there's a certain learning, certain book or anything that this also reminded you of, let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more videos like these, let me know as well. That is all I've got, and I will see you in the next one.